Manchester City 0, Arsenal 1. This one stings a little. Gonna have to break it down. Make sure to hit the like button. Helps other City fans find the channel. Subscribe if y'all are new. And yeah, let's break this down. Let's get into it. Okay, where do we start? Arsenal 1, Man City 0. We're going to have to start with the team selection, in my opinion. Right, team selection. I just don't think it was right from the start. Going with the Phil on the left, Alvarez on the right, and the wingers just being very narrow. Left foot on the left, right foot on the right. Neither are wingers really. Phil has been operating from the right the last couple of games or so. Even Pep said himself that Phil recently hasn't operated well on the left, and he's done it anyway. But then we've Bernardo Silva as the sitting six, with Rico Lewis, an 18-year-old in midfield, with Kovacic, who we'll get on to. Back four was fine. Goalkeeper was fine, but from the midfield up, I think questions got to be asked of Pep of why he picked that sort of team. Just the approach to the whole game was so cautious that we didn't play to win the game. We played to draw. Maybe that's because of our injury list, or we've players out like Rodri, KDB and whatnot, but we've never been a team to not play to win. And that's what it seemed like in this case. We didn't seem to play to create chances. We just seemed to play to draw, to not win. And we got what we deserved. If you don't play to win, you deserve to lose. That's always kind of been my mantra. You should play to win, and if you draw, you draw. If you win, that's what you deserve. But if you lose, at least you try to play it to win. That's always been my sort of thing. Yeah, team selection just not it for me. I said before the game, or I tweeted before the game, that I didn't feel Rico Lewis in this midfield role for this game. It's okay when Rodri's in there and you have a couple of the big boys in there, but when you're having Rico Lewis, Bernardo Silva as your sitting six, and Mateo Kovacic, a new guy, it's just recipe for disaster. Just like for the Wolves games, I said too many new signings spoiling the broth. I think just too many changes to this Man City 11 with no KDB, no Rodri. Like the team from last year, no Mahrez, no Gundogan, no Rodri, no KDB, no Grealish. I don't know why Pep brought up no Grealish against Wolves, because he was the one that dropped him. Rightfully or rightfully not. There was no Jack Grealish or Jeremy Docker, which surprised the whole timeline for this game. It was Phil Foden on the left, which was a bizarre choice in the end. He had a decent game. Not many players came out of this game with their head held high. Phil Foden, he didn't have a bad game. The only one, actually, to be fair, that came out with his head held to a decent standard was Josko Gvardiol. Great game from Gvardiol. Kind of just locked Jesus up, to be fair. He was our best attacker as well. His effort from the corner was cleared off the line. He had a chance that he fired it to the back post to Holland, who just didn't get on the end of it. He was our best creator in this game. This is what I've been saying about him. He always looks for the creative pass. He's always looking to progress the play forward, which is what I really like about him. He's like Laporte, the way he used to pass on steroids. Like, he can actually defend as well. Laporte, no hating session on Laporte. That's not what we're here for. We're talking about the Arsenal game. Josko Gvardiol was our best player, best attacker, best defender on the night. Ruben Diaz. We're going to start off with the back-end performances. Edison, nothing really of note. Couldn't really have done anything for the goal. But yeah, nothing really of note from him. To be fair, the defence didn't really do too much bad, but I thought during the game, Ruben Diaz and Nathan Ake is not the centre-back pairing to go with, because there's no ball or they're the worst ball-playing centre-backs at the club, and if they're your two centre-backs, it's going to be hard to progress the ball, because with Kyle Walker on the right, he's not great either. He can he can ping a fine switch of play. Then Gvardiol's the only real one who can break lines good anyway, at a good quality of pass. Like, Ruben Diaz was trying it, but he just wasn't finding any of the passes. It just wasn't his day. Playing out of the back wise, defending wise, he was all right. Not too much to write home about. Like I said, their goal was a deflected goal, but it was the attack that lacked today. The defense fine defending wise, but it's what we lacked going forward today, which is partly due to the centre backs or the defenders. They're the ones who have control over where the ball goes, how we're playing, the tempo we set, are they breaking lines of passes. There just wasn't really much of it today. Like I said, Diaz did try to, but it just wasn't successful. Ake isn't that type of centre-back either. Gvardiol is, and that's why I thought he was our best attacker and defender. He locked his man up, Gabriel Jesus, and he was playing those passes like I said. So defence was alright, defensive-wise, attacking-wise, not good at all. Into the midfield now. The midfield had a horror show, let's not lie about it. Bernardo Silva got booked straight away, I'm pretty sure. So that was him cautious for the rest of the game. Mateo Kovacic should have been sent off twice. First was a straight red. Easily, you could argue it easily. It's studs up, you can't go studs up, it's just not allowed anymore. And then the second one was definitely a yellow card. Studs clipped Declan Rice's ankle and he didn't get the ball again. And he should have received a second yellow for that and didn't. I don't know how he stayed on the pitch. I don't know how Pep didn't bring him off at halftime. He did eventually bring him off for Mateus Nunes, who we'll get onto. Kovacic, not his best game either. Again, he wasn't as secure on the ball. Not many vertical passes through to Haaland this time either, which is what was one of his strengths early on in the season. He loved playing a vertical ball, through ball to Haaland to get on the end of. Not much of that today. I don't know if that's just the way Arsenal set up. They were nice and compact and just didn't allow us. But yeah, Kovacic couldn't get his game going. Bernardo Silva as our sitting six, he was fine on the ball, didn't really lose it much. Didn't create much either, but I was going to say he was playing as the sitting six, they shouldn't do, but Rodri does most of our creating for us anyway. So our sitting six kind of just has to create for us and does everything for us nowadays. Rico Lewis, I've seen a lot of people raving about him. I think it's more to the fact that he's 18 and he played at the Emirates and he didn't have a stinker, but he didn't really do too much compared to what he'd done against Leipzig. He had a great game against Leipzig, but not much today at the Emirates. Up front, a bit of a ghost town. Like I said, Phil Foden was alright, didn't do too much, didn't do much wrong either, I don't think the team did much wrong defensive-wise anyway, but you shouldn't be saying that. You should be able to say that they've done loads going forward of trying to do stuff. Phil didn't even try to do some stuff, or he just didn't try to do a lot of stuff. He'd done a couple of things, a nice couple of dribbles here and there, but inevitably taken down. Alvarez on that right hand side was just, I think it was almost like Pep played in there to press for the game, just for defensive contributions rather than any attacking contributions. Didn't play in a central role today. Rico Lewis was kind of the one pressing in the central role, Alvarez on the right. He got taken off like we've seen in the second half, but it just didn't make sense, the structure. Phil on the left, Alvarez on the right, and then Haaland in an absolute ghost town up front. He didn't even get any chances to put wide today, I'm pretty sure. Didn't get on the end of anything. Didn't get on the ball much, really. 23 touches, but that's not that unusual. You can have 23 touches and score a hat-trick in some games. Got absolutely bodied by William Saliba, that some people are saying is a red card. I don't know what you're smoking, but no way is that a red card. If you think that's a red card, well then shoot back to last season, Haaland's goal against Brighton, where he bodied one of the defenders off to get to the ball. Same thing happened in this case. William Saliba doesn't even body him in the back. It's a shoulder to shoulder. I think it's a fair coming together, and Haaland was left on the ground in a heap crying to the ref. I think he just got bodied and a bit embarrassed in this case. Didn't do anything in the game. Like I've said a couple of times, if you're not going to score or do anything productive in the game, you got to at least press. You got to press, man. Alvarez was doing it. Alvarez almost scored a goal off pressing David Raya. So yeah, you got to press or run a lot at least if you're not going to score these goals. That's 1 goal in 5 games for Erling Haaland now. Not good. He's on a real bad, poor run of form. It's not looking good for the Ballon d'Or. He shouldn't be getting the Ballon d'Or. He scores goals, but that's all he does. He really needs to develop his all-round game. Like, if he's not scoring, he's not doing anything at all. Maybe that's what Pep's telling him to do. Just wait in the box, wait for the chances. But you can press, you can drop deep sometimes to get the ball so we can progress up the pitch. But then again, sometimes his touch is just... he's got a bit of a donkey's touch. I've said it last year when we were praising him. I've always said it. He's had a bit of a donkey's touch, but he scores goals and makes up for it. We know his game is not complete. Far from it. But he scores the goals to make up for it and to win us games. But he hasn't been doing that recently. Erling Haaland... He's done more interviews than he's got goals in the last couple of weeks now, including impulsive, pre-game, after-game, just interviews with the Telegraph in general. He's done more interviews. He's done more media obligations than he has done on the football pitch. If this was Marcus Rashford now, some people will be, getting on his back or whatnot. But Erling Haaland, I'm not here to slate the players, but it's just... If you're not going to score in the games, you got to do something. You got to run. You got to press. You got to be in a good defensive shape. You got to do all these things. Like Roy Keane said, put a foot in. hit someone on the shoulder just to make yourself feel better. Just do something. If you're not going to score, you got to be doing other things on the pitch. You got to be providing other things on the pitch if you're not scoring. But yeah, Holland didn't play well, but I've really got to knuckle this down on Pep this time. Pep, just the structure wasn't right. I know we're missing Rodri, but Kovacic, Bernardo Silva as the middle CDM, and Rico Lewis up against an Arsenal who has a monster in Declan Rice in the midfield. It's just not the way to go. So yeah, and the front six were horror show, absolute horror show, because that structure in the front line as well. Phil on the left, Alvarez Narrow on the right, with Erling Haaland doing nothing up top. Just was not it. But yeah, we lost 3 points. First time Arsenal have beaten us in 12 attempts. Some positives. Like I said, we had Guardiola. He was a positive. Hopefully we can actually find some more. I'm going to go with Matheus Nunes. Really enjoyed his cameo when he came on. I just really love his confidence. Even as the sitting six, you don't really want him doing some of the stuff he does, taking men on one-on-one, which actually came off a couple of times. He kind of stood your man up. He kind of studs on the ball, just kind of shimmying shoulders, and then it does actually just dart past him as the sitting six this time. So he was playing as the six when he came on, which is what I kind of want to see. But Rodri's coming back now, which is it's kind of what I wanted to see. I think I said it before when Rodri got suspended. I kind of wanted him as the sitting six. He's just the more physical, the more studs on the ball type of player. But that wasn't to be, and I guess we'll never know. In the words of Kanye West, I guess we'll never know. But Matheus Nunes really enjoyed his cameo when he came on, driving past players like I said, just some nice touches, nice passes, just a nice cameo from him. Didn't do much going, well, he tried to do. He almost done Declan Rice. Declan Rice with a brilliant tackle in the mid-second half. But I like the way he drives, and he's not afraid to take people one-on-one. Jeremy Doku, when he came on, went at his man twice in the first 20 seconds. And I loved it. But he didn't do anything with it, really. Didn't do much, but like the whole team just... The whole team just didn't do much, but I think Pep just left it too late. The structure he went into the game with that front six being the monstrosity it was, just didn't really. We just didn't have the intensity. Just that whole first 65 minutes didn't have the intensity to set us for the end of the game. It just didn't have it. But yeah, just a culmination of errors and wrongdoings, and we didn't even do that bad against Arsenal. Arsenal didn't dominate us. They had 49% of possession. We had 51. Didn't do too much wrong, and then we lose. A 0-0 was the deserved result going off the state of play. But the fact we didn't play to win, in my opinion, probably did, but it didn't look like it. Probably did play to win, but it didn't look like. So 0-0 was probably deserved, but then they get the deflected shot. Just when Martinelli came on, deflected effort. Sometimes you get rewarded for just trying to do things. Efforts on goal, just positive play. Sometimes you get rewarded, and this was the case this time. We go away from the Emirates with a 1-0 loss now. International break is gonna suck, I guess. I'm not watching England. Don't care about them. I'm not English, so well. No, I'm not going to watch them, no. Work was fun today. Got mocked by some United fans. First time in ages that City have lost and United have won. It's usually, if City lose, United more likely have lost as well. So this was a rare occasion. Arsenal beating us, another rare occasion. Back-to-back losses, another rare occasion. 3 losses in 4 games now, even rarer. Do we have a crisis on our hands? Is Mark Goldbridge going to make his famous video, Man City in Crisis? Please do, because we usually turn it around soon afterwards. But positives moving forward. 2-week break. Pep Guardiola has got to stew on those thoughts for the next 2 weeks. Cook up something. Rodri is back. John Stones more than likely is back if they don't get injured during the international break. KDB will be 2 weeks further along his recovery, but he's not back for a while, but that's a positive anyway. But yeah, Rodri will be back, John Stones will be back. That is a pivot. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, everyone's going to have to stew on this result for the next 2 weeks. Brighton are up at home. That's a tough game. Home for us. It's at the Etihad. Finally, back at the Etihad after a while, after a couple of games away. I think it's our only game at home this month, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. If Pep having to think on this result, like I said, for 2 weeks, that's gotta stir something inside of him. So like I said, maybe against in the Newcastle or Wolves loss, or the game afterwards, there could have been one of these just one of these famous meetings that the players have after a bad run of games that sparks our season into life. That may happen after the game or when they come back. You never know. We might hear at the end of the season that they've had one of these meetings after we've won a load of stuff. So hopefully that happens. Yeah, Brighton coming up. I'll probably make a preview because we've a couple of we've spaced now before that game. But yeah, that's the Arsenal review. Bad setup from Pep, in my opinion. Just didn't give us the best platform to win the game. Let me know your thoughts on that front six in particular down below. Always like the video, helps other City fans find the channel, and subscribe if y'all are new around here. And I shall see you next time. Peace.